then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation, the maximum of which is the greater of 12 months or the time left under post-release control. The remaining charges are dismissed. Anything else, Ms. Blake?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Loftus?
No, Judge.
Represented by counsel, Mr. Joe Loftus. Your Honor, we're actually set for a motion hearing here this afternoon. However, it is the state's understanding that Mr. O'Neill is desirous of entering a guilty plea and accepting the state's offer here today, which I can put on the record for the court at this time. The offer that has been presented to Mr. O'Neill is a plea of guilty to counts 1 and 2 in the indictment, both felonies of the 3rd degree, endangering children. Count 2, Your Honor, would essentially include the conduct that was originally charged in counts 3, 4, and 5. Counts 1 and 2 do not merge. They are separate acts, separate conduct. We would ask that the court proceed to sentencing. It's my understanding that we have a joint recommendation with respect to sentencing to present to the court here today for a total prison term of 24 months. We would ask that Mr. O'Neill also be credited 73 days of jail, and we would ask at the appropriate time that the court dismiss the balance of the indictment if that plea and sentencing is forthcoming here today, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Loftus.
Thank you, Judge. Attorney Blake's recount of the offer that has been relayed is correct. I have met with my client prior to coming on the record here today several times, explaining that offer to Mr. O'Neill as well as to Mr. O'Neill's family. I believe that after having conversations with him and then relaying the substance of that to Prosecutor Blake, Mr. O'Neill is in agreement with that joint recommendation by the state and is willing to proceed accordingly.
Is that correct, Mr. O'Neill?
Yes, sir.
All right, how old are you?
I am 42. Or 43.
And how far did you go through school?
I graduated high school.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes.
Prior to coming to court, have you taken any drugs or alcohol or any prescription medication in the last 48 hours?
No, sir.
Have you ever been diagnosed with or treated for any mental illness?
No, sir.
Did you get a copy of the indictment?
Yes, I did, yes.
All right, it's been represented to me you're going to plead guilty to counts 1 and 2, both endangering children, both felonies of the 3rd degree, and then the remaining counts will be dismissed. Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir.
All right, before I accept your guilty plea, I need to determine that you know and understand the constitutional rights you'll be waiving, the consequences of your guilty plea, and the maximum penalty I could give you, and I need to be satisfied that your guilty plea is being made freely, knowingly, and voluntarily. I'm going to ask you some questions. If you don't understand a question or you want to talk some more to Mr. Loftus, let me know and I'll give you more time. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have a constitutional right to have a trial, either to me or to a jury of 12 Lake County citizens. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If you go to a jury trial, all 12 members must agree to a guilty verdict before you can be found guilty. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If you go to trial, the prosecutor will call witnesses to testify against you. Do you understand the prosecutor must prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at a trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
After the witnesses are done testifying for the prosecutor, you have the constitutional right to have your lawyer cross-examine those witnesses. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
If you go to trial, you have the right to have witnesses come here and testify for you. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
If those witnesses refuse to come to court, I'll issue an order called a subpoena to make them come and testify. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have the right to testify at trial if you want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
You have the constitutional right to not testify at trial if you do not want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
If you decide not to testify at trial, nobody is permitted to comment on that decision. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you go to trial and you're found guilty, you have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If you file an appeal, you have the constitutional right to have a lawyer represent you in the appeal. Do you understand that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If you could not afford to hire a lawyer, one would be provided at no cost to you. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you file an appeal, you're entitled to have a transcript of all the hearings in this case. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you could not afford a copy of those transcripts, they'd be given to you at no cost. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you plead guilty today, you will not have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about any of your rights?
No, sir.
You still want to plead guilty to these two charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand by pleading guilty, you're fully admitting your guilt to the charges.
Yes.
You understand by pleading guilty to this felony that you're voluntarily giving up your freedom for whatever period of time I could sentence you to prison, to jail, or to community control.
Yes, Your Honor.
In count one, endangering children is a felony of the third degree. It carries a 36-month maximum prison sentence and a $10,000 maximum fine. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Count two, endangering children is a felony 3 with a 36-month maximum prison sentence and a $10,000 maximum fine. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
I could give you a consecutive sentence. That means one sentence after another for the separate offenses. If I did that, you face a maximum prison sentence of 72 months and a maximum fine of $20,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand your felony conviction prevents you from owning or possessing a firearm.
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that if a prison term is imposed in this case, you will have to serve a period of post-release control of at least 1 year up to 3 years under the parole authority.
Yes, Your Honor.
They will place conditions on you. If you violate their conditions, they could return you to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If that violation is a new felony, then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for that violation. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If that occurs, the maximum prison sentence for that violation would be the greater of 12 months or the time left under post-release control. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that if a prison term is imposed, you are eligible for judicial release?
Yes, Your Honor.
You could be placed on community control for up to 5 years, but if you violated any conditions, I could send you to prison for 72 months. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anybody promised you that I would be lenient on you just because you're pleading guilty today?
No.
Has anybody promised you what I will sentence you to in this case?
Yes. Or no.
Let me try that again. Has anybody promised you what I will sentence you to in this case?
Oh, no.
All right. Do you understand I do not have to follow the recommendation made by the prosecutor or your lawyer?
Yes, I understand that.
Have you had enough time to talk to Mr. Loftus before pleading guilty today?
Yes.
Has he discussed everything about your case and answered all of your questions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the advice he has given you?
Yes.
Have you been threatened or coerced in any way to plead guilty today?
No, Your Honor.
Are you freely, knowingly, and voluntarily entering your guilty plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Ms. Blake, if the case went to trial, what would the evidence show?
Thank you, Your Honor. Had this matter proceeded to trial, the state would have proven the following with respect to count one, Your Honor. Between the dates of October 31st, 2022 and November 30th, 2023, in Paynesville Township, Lake County, Ohio, the defendant, he, by the way, is the father of the minor victim in this case. The minor victim, GTO, was 6 to 7 years of age at the time. The defendant did recklessly create a substantial risk to GTO's health or safety, and he did that by violating his duty of care, his duty of protection, and or support to GTO. The result of that violation was serious physical harm to GTO. Specifically, Your Honor, over that approximately 1 year period of time, Mr. O'Neill, along with his co-defendant, deprived GTO of food. They would withhold food from him as a form of punishment, and they would limit his access to food. As a result, within 2 days of being removed from this home, GTO was hospitalized on November 19th at the Euclid campus of the Cleveland Clinic. He was thereafter transferred to main campus, where he remained hospitalized until November 25th. He was, at that time, during that hospital stay, diagnosed with malnutrition. He was also, which again is consistent, and speaking to the care team at the Cleveland Clinic, consistent with GTO's reports of food being withheld from him. He was also treated for what is called refeeding syndrome. Refeeding syndrome is common when electrolytes or other nutrients are reintroduced to someone's diet after a long period of deprivation refeeding syndrome is something that is commonly seen by health professionals, and GTO had to be treated for that as well during that hospitalization. With respect to count 2, Your Honor, on or about that same time frame, again, in Painesville Township, Lake County, Ohio, Mr. O'Neill did recklessly, cruelly abuse and/or torture GTO. This happened a number of different ways. Again, in combination with his co-defendant, the defendant in this case would require GTO to wear hand restraints when GTO did not need hand restraints. Those hand restraints limited GTO's access to things like food, limited his ability and interfered, quite frankly, with his ability to sleep and his ability to use the restroom, really all daily functions. And there was evidence that GTO was made to wear the hand restraints during the day, but also at night during normal hours when he would be sleeping, or at least attempting to. Additionally, along with his co-defendant, Mr. O'Neill would participate in shoving a rag down GTO's throat on multiple occasions. This interfered with his ability to breathe. His mouth was also duct taped closed. And GTO was forced to participate in what he knew as a form of punishment that he called toe touches. And what this consisted of, Judge, is that GTO would often be locked in the garage of this home with a camera on him at all times. And as a form of some sort of discipline, GTO would be required to perform toe touches from head to toe for long periods of time. And as GTO described it to law enforcement, and as GTO has described it to me, he would be required to do this all day or all night. The facts additionally would have shown, Your Honor, that when the Lake County Sheriff's Department executed a search warrant on this home on November 30th, 2023, they recovered 2 pairs of hand restraints, multiple rolls of duct tape, and they also recovered a sign, a homemade sign, that was hanging on the refrigerator in the garage where GTO was required to perform his toe touches. And the sign read, "If you have energy to play, you have energy to do toe touches all day." All day was capitalized. It was in red letters, underlined, followed by exclamation points. The state submits, Your Honor, that any one of those acts over the significant period of time that we're talking about would have constituted torture or cruel abuse. But most certainly the combination of those acts inflicted upon GTO over that approximate 1-year period of time would have met that threshold. Those are the facts, Your Honor, that the state of Ohio would have proven had this matter proceeded to trial. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Loftus, anything to add to those facts?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. O'Neill, did you hear what Ms. Blake said, that the facts would show if this case went to a trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are those facts true?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is your plea to count 1, endangering children, a felony of the 3rd degree?
Guilty.
What is your plea to count 2, endangering children, a felony of the 3rd degree?
Guilty.
Mr. Loftus, you take this, give it to Mr. O'Neill, please.
For the record too, Judge, this plea agreement has been provided by the state, and I have went over this plea agreement before coming on the record here today with Mr. O'Neill.
Is that correct, Mr. O'Neill?
Yes, sir.
All right, if you want to plead guilty, then you need to sign that document.
You want the attorney part signed now too, as well, Judge?
Your Your Honor, just for the record, I have witnessed Mr. Loftus and Mr. O'Neill review the written plea of guilty and judgment entry, and them both signed the document. I am now affixing my signature as well to the document, and with the court's permission, I would return it to the court at this time.
Mr. O'Neill, is this your signature on the written plea of guilty?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign it voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you want me to accept your written plea of guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Accept the written plea of guilty. Defendant was present with Mr. Loftus, advised of all of his rights, made a knowing, intelligent, voluntary waiver of those rights. He understands the nature of the charge, the consequence of his guilty plea, and the maximum penalty. Find it to be knowing, intelligent, voluntary. I will accept his plea of guilty and find him guilty of count 1, endangering children, a felony 3, and count 2, endangering children, a felony 3. Mr. Loftus, is Mr. O'Neill going to waive his right to a pre-sentence report?
You will, Judge.
Is there any reason not to proceed to sentencing?
No.
All right, what do you have to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, I've gotten to know Mr. O'Neill, obviously, through being retained to represent him during this case. I got to know Mr. O'Neill. I got to know his mother, who is also seated in the back of the courtroom here. Through going through the discovery that was provided, through talking with Mr. O'Neill about the certain pieces of information, what the state would be able to show at trial, through explaining that to him and him waiving the attorney-client privilege, if you will, and having some conversations with his family, I believe that this was a very unfortunate situation, to say the least. And I will say, Your Honor, I've represented a lot of criminal defendants. Mr. O'Neill is a very remorseful client that I have. Every time I've talked with him, he has demonstrated accountability. He has demonstrated a willingness to avoid a trial for the sake of his children. He has demonstrated a willingness to take responsibility as the father of these children. He has shown me through all of our meetings and conversations, and I do believe he is very genuine from where he comes from. He knows that this was a gravely serious mistake. This was conduct that is not appropriate. Mr. O'Neill understands that, and he really wishes to not have these children endure this any further from a litigation standpoint. He has broken down in tears, quite frankly, every time I've met with him. He has really expressed, as I've said before, remorse over this situation. He, looking back at it, knows that this conduct was wrong. He knows that what him and his co-defendant, Ms. McGuire, who was his romantic partner for some period of time, and they resided together, he knows that this is something that should have never happened to these kids or to any child. He understands that. Mr. O'Neill right now is demonstrating his understanding of this situation and how serious it really was. After talking with him and talking with the state judge, I believe, and Mr. O'Neill believes, that the joint recommendation that the state has put on the record here today for 24 months of incarceration for both of these counts is appropriate. Mr. O'Neill's willingness to accept the accountability through this plea agreement, Mr. O'Neill's willingness to accept further incarceration on top of what already he has endured, I think demonstrates that this client knows the situation, that he knows the consequences of this situation, is prepared to face those consequences. So, Your Honor, for those reasons, trying to get the court in the limited time that I have now to understand the man that I have gotten to know over the attorney-client relationship, I urge this court to recognize those factors, as well as the fact that Mr. O'Neill does not have a criminal history in sentencing Mr. O'Neill, and I urge this court to go along, like I said, with the joint recommendation that has been put forth on the record. And I believe Mr. O'Neill has prepared a statement as well, Judge.
All right, Mr. O'Neill, what would you like to tell me for me to consider before I impose sentence?
Stand up.
I just wrote a little thing. Sometimes in life, you're influenced by people and situations that cause you to act out of character. And you don't make the right decisions despite giving you everything. You come up short. My actions show things that I did do, didn't do, things I should have done, and things that I should have done differently. I've had custody of my kids for years with no issues. I was doing what, as a father, I thought was best for my son. I was taking him to the doctor. I was doing, a bunch of things. He was losing weight. I was taking him to the doctor. He had a dietitian that I was going to take him to that I didn't get to. I didn't know about Francesca's past. There's things about her past that detectives told me that I didn't know was going on, that had went on. I ran her name and just minor traffic stuff came up. And detectives told me that Francesca's had another case of abuse that she pled guilty to as well. I don't know, this has destroyed my relationship with my kids, and I don't know if I'll ever get it back. And I'm sorry that I didn't catch on to what Francesca was doing, sooner. She was, you leave your kids and to trust somebody.
Well, when did you catch on to it?
I thought that, I didn't think that she was feeding him. That's why I took him to the doctor. That's why I had a dietitian.
When did you catch on to that?
It took me a while because she would tell me that my son was acting up. She would tell me different things. She would tell me that I took him to a psychiatrist. He was going to a counselor. I took him to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist put him on medication that obviously he didn't need. And she told me that when she put him on this medication, he stopped eating, he wouldn't eat. And it was all a lie from her part, and I believed it because it's something, when you trust somebody with your kids, and they lie to you, and then they lie to you.
All right, so you didn't know any of this was going on until when?
He started losing weight, and I questioned her about feeding him. And then she told me that it was the pills that he was on is why he was
Right, you
losing
just
weight.
told me that, but
Which
you
is
said,
why-
hold on, you said that you didn't catch on to it. When did you catch on to it? November 17th, I believe November 17th is when these kids were removed. When in
Right.
advance of November 17th did you catch on to it?
His last doctor's appointment, because he kept losing weight, and I kept taking him to the doctor to, maintain, to keep his weight and, to keep checking his weight. And it wasn't until the end of October or something, I can't remember the exact date, that me and the doctor recommended he go to a dietitian. And I had that, and I called, and I had the dietitian appointment set up. That was along with the sleep study, because Francesca said he wasn't sleeping. That's why he was up doing toe touches in the middle of the night while I was sleeping for work the next day.
Why was he up doing toe touches in the middle of the night?
Because Francesca told me he wasn't sleeping. And she was doing
so
this stuff when I was sleeping at night. First, because I worked first shift.
So
and
you
when
didn't
I
know
go-
he was doing toe touches?
Not at night, no, sir. Well, when I go to bed, I go to sleep.
Okay.
I mean, I'm like out to the world. You can ask my mother. I don't wake. I could sleep through a freight train. And nothing was ever said to me about it. I didn't know that he was up doing them at night.
Did you know he was doing them during the day?
Yes, she told me that she was doing them during the day while I was at work. She would tell me that he was doing them for 10, 15 minutes. That's, if I did the punishment, that's how long I did it for, was 10, 15 minutes.
Punishment of what?
The toe touches.
Why was he being punished with toe touches?
When he would talk back or something like that.
Why toe touches?
Because I don't know, it was just something that Francesca started doing, and I went with it because he didn't like it. You know, he knew that it was a form of punishment. I don't know, I'm not trying to deflect, I know my actions weren't good, they weren't the best. You know, I'm trying to hold accountability for the things that I did.
Well, that's fine, except you spent most of the last 10 minutes deflecting to Francesca. I mean, that's what you're telling me, that you were manipulated.
I was. I took a course in domestic violence, and I found out that, you know, I didn't know the abuse thing, because I've never been involved in any kind of domestic violence or anything like that. I learned a lot from the course.
All right, besides being unduly influenced by Francesca, what did you do wrong in this whole thing?
You know, I did. I put the rag in his mouth one time.
Why?
Because he was talking back and I couldn't talk over him. And the rag was sitting there, he was chewing on it because his teeth hurt. And we would put Oragel in the rag.
So
and
the
then
rag
we would
was
chew
his
on it.
idea? Rag in the mouth was his idea originally?
No, we would put Oragel, I would put Oragel in it and then he would chew on the rag. So his teeth were bugging him, the rag was sitting there, I went in there, I was talking to him, because I forget what he had done, but I was yelling, I was trying to figure something out or talking to him, and he wouldn't let me talk, he kept talking over me, the rag was sitting there, so I told him, I put it in his mouth and I said, here, chew on that, let me talk, and then you could talk. And that's, you know, that's what I did.
What else did you do?
I made him do toe touches for 10, 15 minutes, like I said, you know, when I was home, if he was misbehaving or something like that. You know, I mean, I did my part of it. And I'm not saying that I didn't. But but what I'm saying is I didn't, I fed him, I don't know. This just got out of control way too fast.
He was 38 pounds.
Right. That's.
So don't tell me you fed him.
The doctor said when she first started seeing him, till then, me taking him back and we were watching his weight, he lost a total of 8 pounds altogether.
So he was
After
only,
the 8 pounds, we said, well, we need to get him something. I said, well, what can we do? Because I'm seeing him eat, I'm feeding him. What can we do? And that's when she recommended the dietitian, and I had the dietitian appointment set up.
so when it finally dawned on you at the end of October that all this nonsense was going on, what exactly did you do about it to end it?
My kids came to me and they told detectives that they were deathly afraid of Francesca. That
Well, that was November 9th, okay? What'd you do
Okay.
between the end of October and November 9th?
and I didn't do anything. I was trying to figure out what to do.
Well, you told me you figured it out like around the end of October. So once you figured it
Right.
out, what
That's
did you
what-
do?
I didn't know what to do. I was
Well, the answer is you did nothing,
Right.
right? Right.
I was trying to figure out something to do, but I didn't do anything. Right.
How about throwing Francesca out on the street and getting your kids the help they needed? Wouldn't that be the thing to do?
That was an option that I was thinking about, yeah.
Why were you thinking about it? Why didn't you do it?
I don't know.
Okay, you
Because
know
I
why
made
you,
a
listen to
mistake.
me, listen
Because
to
I made a
me.
mistake.
I don't buy for a minute you didn't know this stuff was going on, because you were knee-deep into it. Okay, and what you didn't know, what Francesca did during the day, you found out about and you did nothing about it. So don't give me this woe is me nonsense that you were unduly influenced by her and manipulated by her. That's garbage. What else you want to say?
That's it, Your Honor.
How long had that sign been up that said in the garage, if you have energy to play, you have energy to do toe touches
I don't-
all day?
I don't even know when she put that up.
Okay. Why did you allow it to stay up?
I don't, because Francesca told me that she put it up and it made him think about staying up at night.
I mean, isn't that kind of stupid?
It is. It is very dumb. And I should have took
What's
it
with
down.
these hand restraints?
The hand restraints, he would pick his fingers and his fingers would be bloody. And Francesca looked into it, we both looked into it, and she found these hand restraints. They're cerebral palsy bracelets, they're supposed to help.
Well, he
with
doesn't have
self-healing.
cerebral palsy, does he?
Right, but they were supposed to also help, we read about it, and it was for self-mutilation and all that other stuff, and he was picking his fingers to the point where they were raw. So,
Why was he picking his fingers?
I have no idea. I asked him why he was doing it, and he told me that he didn't know. I asked my son a lot of questions, and his answers were, I don't know.
Okay, did you ask the doctor when you took him there, why is he picking his fingers?
I did, and they didn't have an answer for it either.
Okay. So you put him in hand restraints when?
He was in those in maybe 6 months.
For what
we
period?
had asked- I had
When
asked the
did you,
doctor-
like during the course of a day, when did you put him in hand restraints?
I didn't do it during the day. I would put him on at night when he was sleeping, or when I seen him picking his fingers.
I
if
thought he
was
wasn't
home from
sleeping at night.
work. Huh?
You told me he wasn't sleeping at night, he
Right.
was up all night.
Yeah, right. I would lay him down in bed.
So
At
when was
night.
it being done during the day?
If I seen him doing it, I would put it, I don't know when she was doing it, but I put him on him. If I seen him picking his fingers, I would ask him, why are you picking your fingers? He'd say, I don't know. Okay, well, I'm gonna put these hand restraints on you for a little bit.
And then what happened when you took him off?
He wouldn't do it. And then he would start doing it again right before bed or something, right before I laid him down, and then I would put him on him at night.
What's the significance of that sign? What, if you have energy to play? Did he have energy to play?
I don't know.
I mean, the context of that sign is, instead of him playing, if he's got all that energy that he could be playing,
Right.
then maybe
I
he
didn't
should,
make
he
the
should do
sign.
toe touches instead.
I didn't make the sign, sir.
I know you didn't make the sign. I asked you the significance of it.
I'm guessing it meant that if he's gonna stay up all night and play, then he could do toe touches all day. I don't know.
Unbelievable.
I didn't make that sign. I didn't make my son do toe touches.
I know,
all day.
Francesca did it. How often were you accessing that camera at home while you were gone during the day?
I wasn't, sir. I was
You
at
weren't.
work. I can't be on my phone and do my job at the same time. I was the only one working in my household. I couldn't afford to lose my job.
Well, you told Detective Ross when you got suspicious that Gabriel wasn't eating,
Right.
that she wasn't feeding him.
And that's when I.
You said while you were at work, you saw him in his room eating on the camera in his bedroom.
Right.
So you did check in.
Right, I mean, I
Right.
would check it on that day, on the occasion where.
I asked you that because you told me you didn't, because you were at work.
I was on lunch, sir, when I checked that, and I checked it because because I had those suspicions.
How many times you hit him with the wooden spoon?
I didn't.
You didn't. Why'd you tell Detective Ross that you did, maybe just once, and you believe the spoon
Well,
broke?
yeah.
Did you tell him
It
that?
was-
Did you tell him that?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
It
so you
was-
told me you never used it on him,
it
but you
was-
did.
It was this wooden spoon, everybody's It's not a wooden spoon that you're thinking of. It was like a craft spoon. It was in
Okay,
three pieces.
that's not the point of my question, Mr. O'Neill.
And I did
I asked you about using the wooden spoon, you told me you didn't.
I did it
You
once.
told Detective Ross that you did it once and it broke.
Right.
I don't care what kind of spoon it is, okay? Why are you,
It didn't
if you're remorseful, why are you lying to me? What about this green vine?
I don't know about any green vines.
You don't
sir.
know about it.
I never knew about any green vine.
What was wrong with his teeth?
He needs a lot of dental work done.
Why?
The way that his teeth grew in. All of
Okay.
his bottom teeth are, his baby teeth didn't fall out, his.
What
adult
else is
teeth
wrong
grew
with
in.
his teeth?
Detective Ross showed me pictures of his teeth being chipped. I don't know when that happened.
You never noticed that?
No, it must have just happened right before they came and got him because
Well,
he
why
never-
were you guys putting Oragel on a rag and sticking it in his mouth?
For his bottom teeth, he said were bugging.
Why didn't you go to the dentist?
I was finding a dentist, my insurance at work kept changing, so I needed to find a dentist that accepted my insurance, and I was looking into that.
Well, I'm gonna presume you didn't take him to the dentist
No,
because you didn't want to take him to the dentist.
no, my
Because maybe the
insurance kept
dentist would
changing
ask
at
why
work,
his
so.
teeth are chipped. That's why you didn't take him to the dentist.
My son said that Francesca punched him in the mouth and chipped
All
his
right,
teeth.
so
I
now
don't know.
See, it's like I'm a dentist trying to pull teeth to get information out of you. I asked you what was wrong with his mouth and why it was chipped, and you said you didn't know, that it just happened, but now you told me Francesca popped him in the mouth. and
That's
it
what Gabriel said. I assumed that you had read that.
Okay,
I
don't
didn't
assume
see it-
anything.
I didn't see it personally. I didn't see it and it happened. I didn't see his mouth.
Doesn't
I didn't
matter if
see
you
his-
saw it happen, you knew it existed.
No, I didn't.
You did.
Not until Detective Ross showed me a picture of it.
What about the duct tape? What about putting duct tape over his mouth?
All right. It was a little piece of duct tape, and I put it on his mouth for him to be quiet. It was like a sliver. It didn't affect him any.
No?
It didn't affect
Putting
his
duct tape
breathing.
over his mouth didn't affect him any. Did you just hear yourself say that?
Well, it didn't affect his breathing or anything like that.
Okay, it
Is what
just
I
shut
meant.
him up for a while.
It was a little sliver, no bigger than this.
You don't really expect me to believe that, do you?
Sir, I was there. And
You were there.
I'm being truthful and I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, you haven't been truthful the whole time you've been talking. So why was he the constant recipient of punishment by you? Constant.
I was looking for answers from him, sir,
Looking for answers from him to what questions?
to what was going on, why he was acting the way that he was acting.
Acting how? What do you
Why I
mean?
was being told that he was acting the way that he was. Talking back, yelling, hitting, biting, punching. He was punching himself is what I was told. I asked him
He
all
was
these
punching
questions.
himself?
That's what I
Okay,
have
because
a
he was
video
punching
of.
himself, you were punishing him?
No, I was asking him why, and he wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't give me an answer as to why.
The 7-year-old wouldn't give you an answer as to why he was punching himself, so you punished him. Is that right? Is that what
No.
I'm to understand?
No, I was looking for other answers too. Why he was losing the weight? Because I was taking him to the doctor. I was taking him all these things.
He
Yes, I yelled
he
at
was
him.
losing, he was 38 pounds
Right.
because the two of you weren't feeding him. That's why he was 38 pounds.
I was feeding him, sir.
Yeah. You just weren't feeding him fast enough such that he was losing weight at
I
a
was-
rapid pace, right?
I was feeding him when I was home from work, sir. I was
Okay,
feeding him breakfast, I was feeding
so you
him
didn't know
lunch.
what was going on, you're feeding him, he's 38 pounds. Did you ask Francesca, are
That's
you
why I was
feeding him?
taking- That's why, yes, I did.
And what did she
And
say?
that's why I looked at the video that day. And I seen him eating, because she said, oh, I'm feeding him. And then I called on the phone and Gabriel said, yeah, she's feeding me, Dad, she's feeding me all this food. And so I looked on the camera and he was eating. And I didn't check it after that. I checked it one time, seen that he was eating, so I assumed that he was getting fed during the day. And I didn't feel the need to check it anymore.
38 pounds. You didn't feel the need to check it anymore.
I didn't know, I wasn't checking his weight at home, that's why I was taking him to the doctor.
Okay. You didn't check his weight, so you didn't know he was 38 pounds?
I wasn't checking it at home.
Did he look a little skinny to you?
Yes, he did, and that's why I
Okay.
was taking him to the doctor.
Okay.
That's why I took him to the doctor. I was taking him to the doctor once, twice a month.
Well, here's, your problem is you prioritized this Francesca over your kids. That's your problem. And you didn't
I
care.
agree with that.
You didn't care what was going on, okay? As long as Francesca was still there.
And I agree with
Why
that.
didn't you ever let him go out and play?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I didn't
Why don't you know?
really think about it.
You didn't think about it. Your neighbors hadn't seen him
Yeah.
in the better part of a year.
I
They
he
used to
was
see him all the
outside.
time.
He would go outside, he would be in the backyard with us and things like that, where the neighbors couldn't see.
You've got an answer for everything that kind of absolves you of everything, don't you?
I'm telling you what I know, Your Honor. I'm telling you, I know he was outside with me because I would take him outside in the backyard with me. Where the neighbors can't see.
Did you ever see Francesca abuse your kids?
I seen her smack Gabe, yes.
Why? Why did she smack him?
Because he was talking back and I wasn't there, and, well, I was there, I was coming up, I was in the house, I was coming around the corner and I seen her smacking him. And
did you address that with her?
I asked her why she was doing it, and she told me because he was talking back and things like that.
And so that was okay?
I asked Gabe why he was talking back, and he said I didn't know. So, no, I don't think it was okay for her to be hitting my son. I don't say that, I'm not saying that it was right at all.
How many other times did you see her abuse your son?
A few. I mean, it was all her saying, that he was acting up or something like that. It was, and it's like you said, I prioritized her and I
Right.
listened to what she said
Why?
over my kids.
Why did you prioritize her over your kids?
I don't know, sir, because I'm stupid. Because I made a bad choice. I made a wrong choice in a woman. And I made some bad choices. I made some bad choices putting her first. And I shouldn't have done that.
Well, it wasn't a mistake, was it? I mean, it's not a mistake, it's a conscious choice, right? Right? You made a conscious choice to prioritize her over them, right?
Right. It is about my kids, yes. I did. And I did take a domestic violence course, and I did learn a lot from that. I learned that I was abused as well, not physically, but mentally. The things that she was telling me. She tore me away from my family, my mom, my grandma, my aunt. She put a rift there.
You allowed that to happen.
It was different circumstances, sir, and that's a whole different thing.
Well, no, that is the thing, because you allowed it to
No,
happen,
it was-
which caused all this to happen to your kids. You allowed it to happen.
I did. You are right, absolutely. There were a lot of things that happened that shouldn't have. A lot of things,
That's kind of the understatement of the year, isn't it?
a lot of things that were my fault, a lot of things that weren't my fault. That
Well, what wasn't
things
your
shouldn't
fault?
have happened.
What wasn't your fault?
It wasn't my fault that Francesca put a rift in between me and my family.
Everything here is your fault.
It's,
Everything that happened here is your fault. Because you either did it or you allowed it to happen. When you found out, you allowed it to continue. Everything here is your fault. And the tone that you took with your son is one of the most despicable things I've ever read. You know what I'm talking about?
what do you mean? What do you?
You remember ranting, raving at him in the garage?
Yes, sir.
What did you say to him?
Yeah, I wasn't very nice to him.
What did you say to him?
Nah, I told him that it was his fault and
What was his fault?
him being out there.
Why was it his fault?
I was just looking for answers from him, sir, as to,
No, you concluded it was, you weren't looking for answers, you made a conclusion that it was his fault. Why was it his fault?
because he wasn't sleeping at night, sir.
So that's why he's out in the garage doing toe touches all night, because he wouldn't sleep. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Did you ever watch the camera, what you said to him when you went out there when he was doing the goddamn toe touches all night? Did you ever look at it?
I've seen it, sir, yeah.
Okay.
And there's no excuse for my action.
You're right, there's no excuse for your actions. There's no excuse for your statements. 7 years old. 7 years old, 38 pounds. You got him out in the garage doing toe touches below the sign that says, if you have energy to play, you have energy to do toe touches all day. And you out there screaming at him. From the video, this is quoting Mr. O'Neill, the father of this 7-year-old, it's your fucking fault you're up, nobody else's. You remember saying that?
Yes.
It's your fucking fault you pissed the fucking bed, nobody else's, to a 7-year-old. If you're trying to prove something, you're gonna fucking lose. You're gonna get a sore ass every motherfucking time now. I've had a fucking enough. I ought to fucking strangle you. I'm tired of you being a fucking pain in the ass. I'm tired of you not fucking sleeping. You better fucking figure it out. A 7-year-old! You fucking piss yourself to try to fucking prove something. I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking break my fucking hand on your ass! That was the end of your rant. The video shows you walk away and he continues his toe touches. What the hell is wrong with you?
Like I said, there's no excuse for it, sir.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know why I said that. I was at my breaking point when I said that.
You're at the breaking point with a 7-year-old.
I wanted
A
some answers, and I
38-pound
wasn't getting them.
7-year-old. What else you want to say?
That's it, Your Honor.
Sit down. Ms. Blake.
Your Honor, as the state has indicated, there is a joint recommendation in this case for a prison term of 24 months. The state will honor that recommendation despite the state's disagreement with Mr. O'Neill's version of events here today. The
Version of
facts-
events, I mean, Jesus, he didn't do a thing.
The state is disappointed in that recitation of facts, Your Honor, and again, the state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregious. The state believes that the facts of this case speak for themselves. The conduct here is egregi it's egregious for any person to engage in, it is most certainly appalling for Gabriel's dad to engage in this conduct when he not only had the duty to protect him from it, but the duty to ensure that he himself did not inflict this sort of pain on his son. With that said, Your Honor, I want to talk about Gabriel for a minute. We've heard a lot, and the one thing I didn't hear from Mr. O'Neill was much about this little boy. And I do want the court to know that at 8 years of age, Gabriel has shown more courage and strength than anyone his age should ever have to display. And certainly has shown more courage than the people entrusted with his care. And that to me, honestly, that to me is appalling. When we talk about what this little boy has been subjected to, it surprises me that he somehow, within him, still has ability and capacity for compassion, and he still cares about what happens to his dad here today. And it is with that in mind, and really there are two main reasons why the state entered into this joint recommendation, Your Honor, and despite the defendant's, again, recitation of I guess, facts, the state will honor that joint recommendation, and it's because, one, the state prioritized securing a conviction in this case. The state felt that it was important for the people responsible for this conduct to be held accountable for it. And number two, the state prioritized something that Mr. O'Neill did not, and that was protecting Gabriel and protecting his sister as best that the state could moving forward here in this case. It's with that in mind, Your Honor, that the state balanced to the best of its ability the facts of this case, the sentencing factors, and again, our exhaustive review of all the records available to the state of Ohio, and arrived at the joint recommendation of 24 months. Certainly the aggravating facts of the case are clear, and I don't need to belabor them or be redundant. I will just say, though, I strongly surmise or speculate that the good doctors at the Cleveland Clinic probably wouldn't have been so puzzled about what was happening to Gabriel if Mr. O'Neill and Francesca McGuire had indicated that food was withheld from him, that he was required to sleep on a floor, his bedding had been removed, and that he was required to stay up all night doing toe touches. I'm guessing that the good folks at the Cleveland Clinic would have been able to figure out what was going on. So with that said, again, the aggravating facts of the case are clear, but for the record, in mitigation, the state also took into account Mr. O'Neill's lack of criminal history, the fact that he was desirous in some way of resolving and accepting some level of responsibility or culpability for his conduct here. I will say it did appear that he was cooperative with the Lake County Sheriff's Department. He did provide his phone to Detective Ross and allowed a examination of his phone to occur, which resulted in the collection of evidence. With all of that said, Your Honor, he does deserve punishment for this conduct. We are asking that this court adopt the jointly recommended term of 24 months. The state has, as indicated, balanced all of the information available to it in arriving at that recommendation, and I would submit that to the court here today. Thank you, Judge.
All right, I've listened to what counsels had to say, what Mr. O'Neill has had to say. Reviewed a couple letters that were sent to me. Reviewed Detective Ross's narrative report. Considered all the provisions of 292911, 292912, 292913, and 292914. This is one of a handful, 3, maybe 4 cases I've seen in 10 years that is amongst the most repulsive that I've seen, what a 42-year-old man does to his, primarily his 7-year-old child and his daughter. Treating them much worse than they would treat barnyard animals. It's repulsive what you did to him. And everything you talk about deflects what you did onto Francesca. And not one word from you about how he's doing now. Because you're consumed with self-pity. I am not going to adopt the joint recommendation of counsel because I don't believe it's appropriate in this case. On count one, I'm going to sentence you to 36 months in prison. On count two, I'm going to sentence you to 36 months in prison. Those sentences will be consecutive to one another for a total of 72 months because that's what's necessary to protect the public from future crime and for appropriate punishment. And they are not disproportionate to the seriousness of your offenses that you engaged in for a year. And at least two of these offenses were committed as part of a course of conduct, and the harm caused by the two offenses was so great or unusual that no single prison term for any of these offenses committed as part of this course adequately reflects the seriousness of your conduct. You get credit for 73 days, and the costs are assessed, and then when you get out, you're going to be on post-release control for a year, up to 3 years, under the parole authority, with conditions. If you violate the conditions, parole authority can send you back to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If your post-release control violation is a new felony,